Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ignorant Intellectual on Media. Today, I thought we'd talk about music, uh, music storage, to be specific. If you're a music collector or any type of media collector, whether you collect LPs, whether you collect movies, whether you collect books, whether you collect sports cards, whatever you collect, you need space for it to collect it. You'll need storage space, you need display space, and what eventually happens to everybody, they run into a wall when it comes to space. They end up running out of space. So I thought this little hack. It's not a huge hack or anything. It's just a simple hack that would help create more space for your library, specifically with me for CDs. Um, might be something that you might use. Maybe you haven't thought of it. Maybe you have, but I thought maybe I'd go through it, and then you have another idea on how to store and display your media, right? So basically, what I was collecting at one time were books. So in one section of my den is I have like 6 bookcases, and they're full of all the books that I collect. And then what I had was a whole bunch of these shelves here that you see behind me, and I filled up the rest of the basement and the hallway or the stairwell going up into the living room with these, and I used them for CDs and movies because I was collecting movies. I started collecting movies, and you know, you go to the thrift store and you might see a book that you'd be interested in that you collect. You might see a CD that you'd be interested in. You might see a movie. You never know what you end up coming home with. So I ended up making room for it all. But what eventually I ended up running out of space. So I was more into movies because I had listened to music for like a decade, or like really in depth. I was reading like a book a week and listening to like 2 or 3 CDs every week. Um, so eventually my CD collection started to build up, so I needed space to put it up. But then I got more into movies, like I was saying, and then the movies started encroaching on the CDs, and then eventually all the CDs ended up in boxes. Um, and so what I did was I put them all in boxes and I stacked them in front of my desk here, and it just made the space look. It didn't look very good. It looked like I was moving in or moving out. You know what I mean? Boxes have a tendency to do that. So what I did was I thought, well, okay, what am I going to do with all these CDs? And at the time, how I was listening to music was I would use my computer and I'd just transfer all my CDs into MP3 files, and then just use the CDs basically as a storage, a backup storage or whatever, right? So I had put them on the shelf. And then I said, well, I'm not using these CDs because I have MP3s of the albums and everything, so I don't need to display them because I don't go up to the shelf and pull them off and do anything with them. So I said, okay, I'll store them. So I put them in boxes, but it looks ugly. So what I ended up doing was I ended up buying 2 3x4 calyx from IKEA, calyx shelving. It's that you have those inserts that you can put in. I bought like the fabric inserts, and then I just put all the CDs inside those fabric inserts and then push them in, and it makes it look really nice. I'll show it to you when I get up. Anyway, so I have all my LPs on this calyx shelves, and I have all my magazines on them, and I have all my CDs in them, and it cleans up the place really nice, and it makes storage of it much easier, right? So, but the problem with that is so I would listen to MP3 files, but the problem with it is when you transfer them using like Windows Media Player or another media player, what happens is they get really detailed in it, right? And then you got to go in, you've got to edit it all, and it just takes so much time to edit. Otherwise, you don't get the songs in the order that you want. Because I'm big in listening to albums. I grew up, in the era of records, tapes, and then CDs, and everybody listened to albums. I mean, they would make mixtapes of their favorite songs, and you have a mixtape. Maybe you'd play it in a Walkman, but mostly people listen to albums. They didn't listen to individual songs unless it was like a various artists type of thing, maybe a soundtrack or something like that. Mostly everybody's still listening to albums, right? So not so much nowadays. People usually have their own track listing or a playlist that they put on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, and they listen to that, right? So, but I don't know about you. I have a subscription to Netflix. I have a subscription to Amazon Prime. With Amazon Prime, you do have a music, Amazon Music that you're part of. It's not the full blown version of it. You would need to pay more for that. And Amazon Prime now, actually, even with the movies and everything, if you don't want any commercials, you kind of got to pay more as well, right? So it's becoming irritating. I would listen to an album on YouTube, and then between each song, the song would be 3 or 4 minutes. Between each song, you get a commercial, you get like an ad or whatever, and then we go back to the next song. And Spotify ended up becoming even worse. I used to listen to Spotify on my computer, on my laptop or my computer, and it was okay. They'd send in an ad every 2 or 3 songs, and they would go back to the album, right? But then what happened is I started listening to stuff more on my phone, and the phone app is even worse than the computer app, in that every couple of songs they put an ad, but they also don't allow you to play the whole album. They play the first couple of songs, and then they go on a tangent and play other music that's similar to that music. And you never do end up getting to hear the whole song. It ends up sending you various music that's similar, of a similar genre. Anyways, I got sick of it, and I said, I have like 10,000 CDs of albums that I really enjoy listening to. Why not just listen to them? So I started bringing some into the car, 4 or 5, 6 at a time, not a whole bunch to take up space in the car. I play it on my car still has a CD player. And then what I ended up doing is I bought a mini stereo system to put up in the living room that had a 5-disc CD player in it, so I would listen to music that way. And then I ended up buying another one, a bigger system with a 5-disc CD player and what do you call that other piece? What is it called? I forget what it's called. Anyways, and 2 big speakers, and I have those in the receiver, I think it's called, in the basement. And I got both of them for less than $100 each. So because stereo equipment's kind of going the way of the dodo, because people don't listen to CDs as much. But there is a small group of people like you and me, I'm assuming, anyways, if you're watching the video, that still listen to CDs because it's the best way to listen to them sound-wise, right? So, and I'll get arguments from people who listen to LPs, but there is really no argument. CDs sound better than LPs, but I'm not going to get into a 20-minute discussion why. You probably know all the arguments, right? Anyway, so that's what I did, and I went back to listening to CDs. But the problem is all my CDs are stored in these felt boxes slid into the Kallax shelves, and in order for me to listen to a CD, I got to pull these out and then go searching in all these different boxes to find CDs that I want. And I said, why do that? I know I have like thousands of CDs, but there's probably like maybe 250 of them that I would listen to like all the time, right? And you won't get sick of them. You can probably even put it down to 50 maybe that of albums that you just never get sick of when you listen to them. You just listen to them over and over again. So what I did was I went through all my CDs, and I just pulled out what I thought the greatest 200 or however many, I'm not sure how many I would have to count them, maybe it's 100 of them, CDs that I think are like the greatest in the world or whatever, but they're really just my favorites, right? So a lot of them will overlap into critics' greatest albums or whatever, because human beings are human beings. They listen to something, most of them will either like it or dislike it, but you'll get a consensus over if you take a large enough sample size, you'll end up getting albums that are on everybody's list because everybody likes that album, or like 90% of the people that listen to that album really like that album, kind of thing. So anyways, but I'm digressing again. So what I said was, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to be digging in and out of the boxes all the time, or am I going to like start stacking CDs that I'm listening to all over the place, right? Just to listen to them? No. I said, okay, what can I do? And I thought of an idea because I was doing it with my sports cards when I was collecting baseball cards. What I did was, when I first moved into this house, I started 2 collections of baseball cards. One was all the Hall of Famers, like try to get a really good card of all the Hall of Famers. Now, as you go back into history, you're looking at thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. So I didn't go crazy like that. I didn't have the money to do that. But I mean, just a quality card, $20, $30, $10, depending on what it is, of every Hall of Famer. And what I did was I put it in a slap down case, plastic case, and then I would attach it to the wall, right? And then I collected the 52 Bowman set as well, the baseball set, 52 Bowman set. And I've been collecting that for years. Every time I come across a Bowman card that I don't have, I pick it up or whatever, right? So I did that on the wall. And how I ended up attaching them to the wall is, well, you can see the frames are too small to put in a frame. They're plastic. They're not supposed to be done that. So how do you make a display? Well, you got to put it in some sort of display case, I guess. But why not just attach it to the wall? And but you don't want to be hammering all these nails into the wall, right? So how would you do it? Well, how I figured it out was I got the plastic cases. I put the card inside the plastic case, and then I use this. This is called tack and stick. It's basically reusable adhesive rubbery stuff, right? So, and basically what you do is you pull off a piece of it, and then you put it into a circle, and then you put it in the back of the case, and then you can just attach it to the wall. And what happens, what's really good about it is that it doesn't wreck your paint job. It doesn't do anything. You just put it on, all right? And if you want to take it off, you carefully, you don't just rip it off. You carefully just kind of turn it a bit, and then one unsticks, and then you can pull it off, and then you just roll the tack and stick stuff off your wall, and doesn't pull your paint off or anything. And it's the adhesive actually holds the thing. So I said, hey, why don't I do that with CDs? So what I did, I went through all my CDs and all my boxes, and I pulled out the ones that I really enjoy the most listening to, right? Ones that I thought, and I didn't go crazy. I could pull out every Led Zeppelin album and listen to all of them. So what I did was I kind of limited myself to maybe one or two albums from every band. That way I would have room, and I just started sticking them on the wall everywhere in a line that makes it look, doesn't look messy. It looks neat or whatever. And I just started any open space in my basement that didn't have anything on it. I popped a CD case on it, right? And what had happened is it turned the whole basement into, well, I don't know, kind of looks like a store maybe. I'm not sure, but the artwork of the albums, it looks really cool on the wall, right? So I have like LP covers in frames on the walls, and then I have CDs that I put on the wall, and I use this stuff here. I picked that up from Walmart. I'm not associated with this. They're not paying me to do this. It's just a really good product, and I use it for the back. So here's an example, all right? So here's my favorite Simon and Garfunkel album, and that is Bridge Over Troubled Waters. What I did was I pulled out 4 pieces of this ticky-tacky, I call it ticky-tacky stuff, but it's tack and stick stuff, and I rolled it into a ball, and then I put it on the back of the CD, all right? So here it is. You see 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I do is I'm going to grab the camera, and I'm going to pick it up, all right? So what I did was, if you come with me, all right, I just go to open space. So here are some albums that I already put up. I just go to an open space, and I just take the CD, all right, if you can see it properly, line it up with the other CDs, and all you do is you just push, all right? You push the 4 corners in, and then it sticks, all right? So that's cool. It makes cool art, right? So here are some albums that I really enjoy listening to. There's some more on the other CD towers, or DVD towers, I guess you would call them now, right? Then I put them all along the top of this wall here, the opening to the rest of the basement. And over there I got some albums and frames. And then beside you see the CDs, all right? Over here, so any empty space, there's some more media shelves. So I put them on the side of them here as well, all right? You see? And there as well, all right? So these are the 2 Calyx 3x4s I did. There are the boxes. So if I was to pull a box out a bit, can you see? There you got all my CDs in there. but I pulled maybe 100 of them. If you look more over there, there's some more. I'm making a square around that door there. Right. So that's what I've been doing. Is I'm going to add more as I go along, but basically, but that's not the coolest part. So you have the albums up, so you can look at them. So it's really cool. You get to see artwork, right? But the coolest part of it is so let's say you want to listen to, here's a Buffy St. Marie album. All right. Let's say you want to listen to that album. Well, you'd usually have to go up to the shelf, pull the thing off the shelf, then open it, then pull it. Well, when you stick it to the wall, this sticky stuff is pretty good, right? So what you do is you just open it, and you pull out the disc, and the CD case just remains on the wall. Then you go to your CD player, or whatever you're going to play your music in, and you put it in there. And then when you're done, you just go back, open it up, pop it back in, close it, and maybe you'll listen to this one or this one. I usually pull them out 5 at a time because my CD changer has 5 disc capacity, right? So basically that's what. And then in the hallway going up, I put like three CDs under the album that I like. The problem with these things is the albums don't stay in the center. They kind of, gravity takes over after a while. So these have been up for a few years. Gravity's kind of pulled them down, so I got to open them up and put them back in place. But anyway, so as you see, put the CDs and the albums together, right? There's some more here, right? So you just walk up, you open up the case, you take out the CD, close the case, and when you're done, you do the reverse, right? And you don't have to have any storage space. You just need a space on the wall. And there's always spaces on the wall. Like the next space I'll probably put is right there on the side of those Calyx shelves. There's a whole empty space right here that I can put a bunch more CDs, right? And I can finish that square over here, bring it all the way around here, and then up, right? So yeah, I could even probably put some along here, and I could probably continue with that line to go across above the albums here, right? So there you go. So all the CDs are in those boxes, those felt boxes there, and over here. I use that one as my TV stand. And then I have another one that's in the back. These are actually 2. There's one here, and then there's the second one here. And in the back, I've put more boxes full of CDs, right? So so Calyx shelves, you can store the CDs, and then when you actually want to play an album, you just stick it on the wall, your favorite albums, in CD form if you listen to them, right? And just pull them off, and you leave the CD attached to the wall, the CD case attached to the wall. Thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe that's something that you guys might be interested in doing. I know a lot of people will take space that they have on walls and put album covers. Some people will put movie posters and other memorabilia. Sometimes they'll put drill in some shelves and then put maybe Funko Pops on them or whatever. But I like to just use simply this tack and stick stuff. It's cheap. You can attach anything. If you're not interested in CDs, maybe you like movies, you can always just take a Blu-ray and do the exact same thing and stick it on the wall if you want. So you can always do that, and you can open them in the same way, right? And leave it on the wall. They do take up more space, though, obviously. All right, so that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like that hack, give me a thumbs up. If you still listen to CDs, anyways, it's a good hack for you. And I'll talk to you in my next video. You have a great day, and bye for now.